Sometimes we're blue, so give us something to do. Show me to us, Rachel! Ow!
Ooh, welcome to Show Me to Us, Rachel. I'm Nate.
And I'm Sam.
And we're neurodivergent.
Which means that we need to fill our time with hyperfixation to show us more about ourselves.
And theoretically, to help us do that every week, we bring in a Rachel of the Week to show us a new hobby or obsession that we know absolutely nothing about. Then take a week and try it ourselves.
This week is a guest that I met yesterday. His name is Jacob Darmata. He's also my brother.
I hate
immediately
you
not,
so much.
Immediately not true. That is Sam's half-brother. Hey, Jacob.
Hi, Jacob.
Man. You could have introduced me as your ex-roommate instead, really drive
I knew
that
you were
one
going to
home.
say. It was
Of
one
course.
time. One time at a party, I introduced him as my roommate before I introduced him as my brother, and he's never let me forget.
And I've held it against you ever
Wow.
since. That is devastating. Hi,
Yep.
I'm Jacob. I'm today's Rachel. Is that how that works?
You're the Rachel. You're the Rachel of the week.
Don't you like our intro?
I was trying not to crack up the entire time. It was really hard. There's teeth marks in my finger from trying to hold it in.
Whoa, well, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we've been trying to catch you. We're trying to catch all of the Martin brothers and adjacent anything. I've said they're kind of like if you line up everyone, they're kind of like Pokemon evolutions.
Yeah.
Like
very
almost
true.
exactly.
I don't know how I fit into that evolution. I'm just like a weird
you're like-
offshoot of Sam, I think.
No, you're like I don't know. You're like one of those alternate evolutions.
Oh, I'm Vaporeon. I understand. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Or like more like a Frostlass or Glalie kind of situation. You know what I'm talking about?
I believe you. I've not played a Pokemon game since I think.
Glalie. Learn your Pokemon.
You guys should get someone on whose thing is Pokemon, because clearly I've got some gaps in my knowledge base here.
it's me. That's me. I think we've set a record for the longest time we've gone without saying what this episode is about.
Yeah, what's this episode about, Jacob?
Jacob, what is your obsession?
Hey, guys, my obsession. I am here to talk to you about some real old man in his 50s nerd shit, which is of course armored vehicles. Because
Wow.
for no other reason than I just think they're really cool. I'm not big into the military industrial complex or anything like that.
That's good.
They're just neat.
Good precedent to set.
Yeah. I just want to make that very clear. I just think that they're kind of neat because, I have no better justification than, come on, man, it's a tank. That's cool. It's big. It's got a big old gun on it.
That's great.
Yeah, I remember when I was probably 4 or 5, I saw an Abrams tank, a toy, and I was like, Mom, I want that. And they were like, I don't know, that seems a little we're trying not to get you guns. And I was like, Mom, it goes back and forth. Look at it. It's got a remote control. And they were like, okay.
That's
I still
hilarious.
remember that thing. Oh, it was
Considering
cool.
what I know about your general interests and hobbies now, the fact that they initially didn't want you to get into guns is hilarious.
My parents, when they were raising me, said that they would never buy me any kind of gun toy, and that broke down almost immediately.
Wait,
It did
so
not last long.
yeah, so why tanks? What kind of interested you in them initially? Was it like a childhood thing?
Yeah, so I think it was when I was really young. You playing video games or whatever. Usually, the strongest, most powerful upgrade that you as a player can get are vehicles, and of course, the strongest, most powerful vehicle is the one that is 60 tons and can one-shot everything else on the map.
A
So it was
Nissan
like-
Altima, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the
Nissan
Nissan Altima.
How much did Halo contribute to this interest?
A lot. The
Yeah,
Scorpion tank.
the Scorpion.
Hold on. This
Yeah, I guess
isn't
we all
gonna
played those
count.
games. Yeah.
Because
I know
think
that this
Jacob
is a
and I.
podcast, but I actually got a 3D printer recently, and I printed out, this
fuck
is
yeah.
just for the video, but a
Whoa.
Scorpion tank model. The Scorpion tank from Halo absolutely
Yeah,
is
wow.
That's good.
a huge contributor to this little obsession of mine.
I
And it's not
remember-
even a well-designed tank, I'll be honest
No,
with you.
I remember thinking that that's what tanks looked like when I played Halo.
Thank
Well,
God
so-
they don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you mean well-designed tank? Like
Yeah.
what does that mean?
Oh man, so tank design. I'll probably talk about how tank design has changed since their like first inception to
Please.
now, because we've made leaps and bounds. But the general idea for the modern day tank is that
Yeah.
it needs to be, immune to small arms fire. Small arms meaning like dudes with rifles or pistols or what have you,
Right,
which means
okay.
that only really big, really dedicated types of weapons can pose any kind of a threat to a tank. That is,
Right. Okay.
in the modern sense, its goal. It's kind of like the equivalent of like ye olde cavalry. It can go fast and it can hit hard. And of course that changes depending on like the doctrine of the military that is fielding them and what the tank's like operational goals are and all that stuff. But for the most part, nowadays we just have one type of tank. It's called an MBT, a main battle tank, and that is your kind of catch-all.
Wow.
It's the tank. You know, there are other types of armored vehicles that I can talk about and will, but generally when we're talking about tanks, we mean those things.
MB.
So,
Well, and you were saying previously there was more of a like there was an initial design to them, like how that's changed over the years.
the design of tanks has changed significantly because the idea of, like some kind of well-armored piece of equipment that you can use in warfare is not new by any means. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got like in medieval times, there were rams or siege towers or stuff like that that makes you immune to fire while you are also able to be mobile. And that essentially is what a tank aimed to do initially, because it started out in World War One is when tanks first really kind of were a viable, machine. And their initial goal was that, well, it's World War One, the terrain here is terrible, and everyone's sitting in a trench like 100 meters that way, right? How we get over there? And the solution that the British and the French came up with was to make a really big box that was so long and wide that it could just kind of cross over all of the trenches and like artillery shelling in no man's land and barbed wire, and it could just plow right over all of that stuff. So
Okay.
initially in World War One, this is also kind of funny. They were designed by the British Navy because the original idea for a tank was not like akin to other ground vehicles like cars or whatever. It was a land ship, is what they are called for the most part.
Like it could
And
be
that's
a
also
boat also.
yeah, exactly. And it's also
so
there are
funny.
certain parts of tanks that still have nautical terms. We still use that today. Like there's the engine deck, is where it's not like a deck, it's just the inside part of the tank where the engine is. The turret,
right.
that's a naval term. Yeah. There's also I looked into it a little more. There are a lot of different names for tanks depending on the country. Like we call them a tank, just because it looked like a water tank was the original English design.
That's goofy.
And
as
then
hell.
in English,
That's crazy.
that stuck. Yeah, that's literally, it's a tank because it's hollow inside. There's dudes in there. That's kind of it. Other countries have fun ones. In German, it's armored battle wagon. I'm gonna say the English translation because I can't speak German.
Krankenwagen.
It's Panzerkampfenwagen, I think is what it is.
I was gonna
They
say
just call them-
Panzer. I've heard.
Yeah. Panzer
Panzer,
is just
yeah.
the German word for armor, but it is short for Panzerkampfenwagen, armored battle wagon, which is
Panzer's
funny.
German for
Wow.
armor? I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
Isn't that it? The French call it an assault chariot.
That's
a lot of different
incredibly
countries.
French, dude.
That's very French. A lot of countries call them crawlers. That's Polish. That's what they call them.
That's cool.
And I think in Arabic as well. And then the Icelandic one is my favorite. It's crawling dragon, which is just so cool. I
also
can't
incredibly Icelandic.
speak Icelandic, otherwise I would say it and just butcher it completely. But
Wow.
so initially tanks were just meant to like cross no man's land. But what the French found, and the French were some of the biggest contributors to early tank design, was that the kind of smaller, more mobile vehicles did a lot better. Early World War One tanks were incredibly unreliable. They broke down all the time. Stuff got stuck in the treads. But
Right. Yeah.
they worked. They could cross no man's land. They just kind of came in a little too late in the game to make too big of an impact, and the Germans never really started producing their own. But World War One is pretty much over by the time the technology got like there enough to function as what we would consider a tank nowadays.
God, yeah, a tank in World War One would be terrifying, considering like the other weapons being used. At the time.
Yeah. I mean, you could get hit by an artillery shell. There were like field guns that could like penetrate tank armor. But anyway, after World War One, all of these countries, or at least the ones who could afford to, started like iterating on this idea more. And so we ended up with what became very common in the interwar period and into World War II, which were the idea of classifications based on weight, which were light tanks, medium tanks, and heavy tanks.
Like in Hell Let Loose.
Yeah. And so in armor design and tank design, there's this kind of like triangle where you have mobility, speed, and armament. And you have to put your little dot somewhere between all of those. And so light tanks, of course, are very, very fast, but they sacrifice having a bigger gun and being well armored. I know it's weird to think of a tank as something that is not well armored, but that is very common for light tanks because they need to scout ahead. They're used for like scouting in force because, you know, you just see a tank that's scouting your position. What are you going to do about it? You have to call up your guys who have other tanks or tank destroyers or whatever. You can't just like shoot that guy, you know? It's a tank.
Right.
Heavy tanks, which are my personal favorite, are what they sound like. It's really, really heavily armored and has a big old gun. Can I swear on this show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Has a big old fuck you cannon on it. And it's just going to go forward. It's not going to go very fast, but it will go forward until something stops it. And then
Like
medium
Abrams
tanks.
is a heavy tank, right?
So the Abrams is an MBT. We don't really have heavy tanks anymore. They fell out during the Cold War.
So this is like a World War II thing.
Yes, this
Okay,
fell
okay.
out. This fell out like most of the way through the Cold War, and now we just have MBTs. Now, if we're talking in a literal sense, the Abrams is very heavy for a modern battle tank. I think it's something like 60 tons, if I remember correctly.
Ooh, fucking hell!
Oh my god.
It's
I could lift that if I had enough adrenaline.
You know, I believe you. I would love to watch that.
Yeah, some creatine.
And then medium tanks, which are, you know, it's well armored. It can go pretty fast, and it's got a pretty good gun. And most of the famous ones that you probably think about from pieces of media about World War II, most of those were probably medium tanks because they were common and well produced. I'm not going to go into the specifics of like how much horsepower or exactly how much, you know, like a tank weighed or like what its exact road speed versus off-road speed is. That's boring. But I mean, if you've ever seen a movie about World War II before, you probably know what a Sherman tank is. It's the American one, big green, big flat, super tall, big round turret, short gun.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Is that the one in Fury?
Yes, yeah, that is a variation of a Sherman tank. That later in the war, they started giving Sherman tanks bigger guns because it needed to contend with the much, much heavier German armor. To varying effectiveness, there are reports that they didn't really need those longer guns and that the Sherman crews were perfectly happy with, you know, the shorter barreled 75 millimeter guns.
Huh.
World War II is when Germany like really popped off with their tanks, right?
Yes, yeah, German tank design. Well,
I
popped
wonder
off
why.
is definitely yeah. I think that's true.
Yeah. Well, what was going on? What did they need to accomplish?
What kind of industrial complex were they building?
I mean, tank design in general during the 6-year period of World War II was insane. Like the how quickly that technology developed compared to pretty much any other technology that was used during that war, save maybe airplanes, was absolutely insane. Germany, for the most part, this is where some people will start to dispute things, but there are some pretty big like myths in the tank community, so to speak.
Whoa.
And the one that is always the hardest to dispel is that German tanks during World War II were some kind of like mythical super weapons, like with technology that was decades ahead of what the Allies had. That's just not true. They were designed with the same kind of technology. If anything, they were a little bit over-designed. German tanks, especially later in the war, broke down a lot. They required a lot of servicing and a lot of maintenance, which is true of, any tank, but Germany in particular.
Well, and like what other... So when you say like the technology was advancing a lot in that time period specifically, what were some of like the actual technical developments that were happening that were like enabling these like different classes of tanks? Like what I guess I'm just kind of wondering like what the innovations were.
If you like really break down into it, it's a bunch of small stuff that seems pretty inconsequential that adds up to like a tank from 1939 versus a tank from 1945. There's just no shot. There is absolutely no comparison between them at all. If you take, let's just say, for example, one of the earlier German tanks, like Panzer II, was very small, very fast. Some variations of it actually had an autoloader, or, well, not necessarily an autoloader, but an autocannon. It would, instead of just one big cannon you shove around into it, bang, it goes. It had like a magazine that you could feed into it.
Wow.
And of course that gun was very small because you needed room for the magazine and the shells and all that good stuff.
Is it because like an autoloader for a bigger gun would just be too big?
Well, we do have those now. Those are the Russian tanks of today use autoloaders very, very extensively. That's actually why, if you've ever seen footage of a conflict, you ever see a Russian tank get hit and the turret goes and just flies up and away? That is because it got. That is because the autoloader got hit, and that is all of the tank's ammunition in a carousel around the turret.
Oh, so it just pops up.
So all of those go off at once.
That's
because
crazy.
It hit the autoloader.
Wow.
What a fun detail.
Yes.
That's probably not fun for the people involved.
No, the people involved are also going, 100 feet up in the air with
top
the
of them
turret
popped
most
up
of
too.
the time. Yeah.
Wait, so like in terms of people, I'm going all over the place here. Like, what was the basic crew like in a tank? I mean, it probably changed a little bit time to time, but like how many people were in there?
So depending on how big the tank was and depending on whether or not it had radio communications, because some tanks did not, looking at you, Soviets, generally the basic level of having a functioning tank is you need someone to drive, you need someone to shoot the gun, and you need a commander to have the better visibility and to tell the other people what to do.
Like
you have to have
Hell
someone
Let
to
Loose.
turret. Like Hell Let Loose, yes, Sam. Exactly like Hell Let Loose.
Context, Jacob and I occasionally play a World War II game called Hell Let Loose where we can operate tanks. And you do need just those three elements. I usually drive.
Oh, interesting.
Now, there can be other, most of the time you also need a loader, especially in older tanks, unless you have an auto loader like the Soviets do. You need someone to actually put the shell in there so the gunner can focus on gunning. Sometimes you had a radio operator. The Sherman tank had a radio operator who also manned like the front machine gun. If you've ever seen the movie Fury, that is a fantastic showcase of the Sherman tank and how it operates. So some tanks had 3 people. Not Brad Pitt, but the other main guy is the kid. He's the front gunner. The kid. He's the front machine gunner. So some tanks just have 3 crew, some tanks have 5. Some of the funny, wacky, woohoo interwar tanks with multiple turrets have 10.
Multiple turrets?
Whoa.
Yes, so the interwar period was silly.
What?
It wasn't until...
Between 1 and 2, or between 2 and Cold War?
Between 1 and 2. Is generally what I'm going to be calling the interwar period.
10
but
people.
before we really started to figure out, hey, what should a tank actually look like? People got a little silly with it. And so they would have multiple different turrets. Some of them would have actual cannons in them. Some of them were just machine gun turrets. There's a very famous Soviet one. I don't remember the designation. I'm sure I could find it. That had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turrets. Like an actual battleship. Because remember that these were kind of supposed to be land battleships, so they would set them out and have the turrets arranged like a naval vessel.
Yeah, I guess almost like an aircraft carrier or something.
Yeah, like an actual battleship with
Yeah.
multiple turrets and like a little place for the commander to look at and see everything. But we stopped
God.
doing that because we decided that was a little silly, and it did not work as well as just having the body of the tank with a turret mounted near the center or sometimes closer to the front, and then the engine in the back. There were
Right. Okay.
different variations of that. Sometimes countries tried mounting the engine in the front. There's a modern day tank that I believe does that. I think it's the Israeli tank, the Merkava, has the engine in the front, and in the back it's actually got space to transport troops, which is interesting because armored personnel carriers are their own separate designation of thing that does not overlap with tanks very often.
I found it. What's
Oh, did
B8?
you?
Jesus.
Yeah. Some of them are huge.
Whoa. Is the big Soviet one? Is that the Is it T-35 or something? T-35. There's a fake one called the KVVI that looks like it's a train.
Yeah, the one I'm talking about is the Soviet T-35 with the one big turret and then one smaller turret in the front and then multiple machine gun turrets just kind of on the
damn.
sides and rear.
Calm down.
Yes. If you want to look at a really interesting example of earlier tank design, there is, I'm forgetting the term, if you just look up largest tank, the British made a tank with the dimensions of a World War II like land cruiser, but it's just stupidly long for no reason in
Whoa.
particular.
This is silly.
But it does still have the like kind of modern idea of one turret, one body. It's just long.
There's
Right.
apparently a 1917 one from Germany that crewed 27. It's called the K-Wagon or K-Wagen.
I haven't heard of that.
Wow.
I don't know if that's real.
That might not be. People make up a whole lot of. Oh no, that thing. Yeah, no, that. They only made prototypes of it, but yes, there are a lot of German prototypes in both World War I and II that would
Sure.
break a lot of records for tanks, but they're not. They don't exist.
Was
They're not
actually
real.
used. Yeah.
Yes, there was one. Germany in World War II loved their wonder weapons or whatever they called them.
Wunder
And
weapons.
something.
Good, Sam. Good.
And so they had some absolute madman had proposed a tank called the P-1000 Rat, R-A-T-T-E, that would have been just a battleship, but on land. It would actually just use a naval gun as its main armament.
It's got a picture of it next to a house.
The naval aspect of it is just fascinating to me. But okay,
Yeah, it
okay.
is.
So then the Cold War before modern. That was that kind of the last era before modern tanks and
Yeah, and it kind of bleeds over because as the Cold War ended, a lot of countries like tank development is not nearly as rapid as it used to be because there's really no need. Like our modern day tank, the Abrams, I'm sure you've seen it somewhere. I think was developed in the 80s, if I recall correctly, and we've just been upgrading it over and over and over again with new technology because we don't really need to design from scratch a brand new tank because we're not engaged in conflict or potential conflict with other nations that would have modern tanks.
Yeah.
Some nations still have developed the modern day list of tanks that are like homegrown, like locally sourced, made in country. It's actually pretty
farm to table.
farm to tabled
Grass-fed.
armored warfare. There's
Cage
actually there's quite a few. There's more than I thought. Let's see. I have a few of them listed here, but we've got our own. Obviously, you've got the Abrams. The British have the Challenger, which very nice looking tank. There's my personal favorite, the German Leopard 2. It's my personal favorite simply because it looks pretty and no other reason. The French have the Leclerc. The Koreans have their own tank. The South Koreans called the Black Panther. Chinese tank design popped off in the last few decades, as one could imagine, with the very creatively named Type 100.
I mean,
to be confused-
we
not
had
to be
Model T,
confused-
so
That's super
can't say
fair.
much.
Not to be confused, of course, with the Japanese tank, the Type 10. No relation.
Very different.
Yes. There
Most of these are
is
incredibly on brand for the countries they're from.
very.
It's very T100, T1000.
Yeah.
But countries that can't or don't want to produce their own tanks, which is fair, it's very expensive to do, can buy them from other countries that produce their own. So
Got it, okay.
obviously we export
Probably
ours.
us a lot, yeah.
It's mostly Germany, actually. The Leopard 2
okay.
is a very common sight for a lot of other European countries that don't want to produce their own tank. And I
Interesting.
think
I guess they're
the South Korean tank, the Black Panther, is actually getting exported a lot now because it's cheaper than the Leopard and the Abrams, and it's pretty good for what it is.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think Germany's supposed to be pretty good at manufacturing at good prices, just reliable stuff, right? Like,
I
in
would
general.
assume so. Yeah, that's just kind of good old German engineering.
Germany.
But
Well, so I was gonna say, like, so then how are we gonna how should Sam and I engage in tanks?
How should we do
like-
tanks?
Like, I was gonna ask, one thing I wanted to ask specifically is if there was any, like, I don't know, good, like, you were talking about Fury, but any other, like, movies or, like, documentaries about, like, tank design or something like that?
I'm sure that you could find them from the History Channel. However, I've noticed that the ones that I watch feed into that same kind of, like, these certain myths that go on,
sure.
especially during World War II,
Gotta
of the
dramatize
Germans
it.
being very technologically advanced, American tanks being absolute death traps, and Soviet tanks being made in 2 days pieces of shit that fell apart, like, while they were driving. None of that stuff is entirely true. I do want to just throw out
okay.
real quick. The tank design, each nation, like, people like to get comparative, and games like War Thunder and World of Tanks have led to this. But people like to try to find the best tank based on, like, statistics or how it performs in a game
Right.
or whatever. And in general, tanks are designed well for the needs of the country that produces them.
Right.
Like, certain
okay.
shortcomings are not necessarily fair to compare. Like, Soviet tanks, the gun cannot aim down very far. It maybe goes about 6 degrees down from, like, level for the most part,
Yeah.
and especially a lot of World War II tanks. That's just because the place they were expected to deploy those tanks is very flat. It's Russia. It's Eastern Europe. They don't need to aim
Right.
down or over hills. It's a lot of, like, flat plains. So,
Right.
sure, like, the Abrams has, can aim its turret down more, but it's also
Didn't
as
matter.
tall as a
Apples
house.
and oranges. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
Interesting.
that all that kind of comparative stuff that happens a lot in the quote unquote tank community is kind of pointless. And these arguments have gotten so far. I'm sure you've heard about this because it happens so often. But the War Thunder community has controversies at least once a
Notoriously.
year.
Yeah.
What is that? What is
because-
War Thunder?
So War Thunder is a game where it's a vehicle combat game. It started off as just planes, then they added ground combat, and then a few years ago they added naval combat. And it's kind of
Detailed, I
like,
know that.
it's very good,
played
yeah. It's kind of like a counterpart to World of Tanks, where you have, like, hit points, and instead in War Thunder, you don't have hit points, but if all your crew is dead or if you blow up, then the vehicle stops. Otherwise, you can keep taking
Just like
hits.
real life.
That's just like
Just
real life,
like
yeah.
real life. Can't
Exactly,
drive a
'cause
tank without
that's-
this person.
Yeah, that's the thing about tanks, is that it doesn't have, like, a video game weak point. It won't blow up if you just shoot it with enough rifle rounds
Right.
or whatever. You need to kill or
You have to pierce it,
destroy.
yeah.
Yeah, you need to get around in there, and you need to either kill the people who are operating it, or you need to damage it enough so that it can't function, so that the crew needs to bail out.
Right.
Tanks, in actuality, are, like, sure, you can't shoot it with a gun, but they are kind of fragile because of how anti-tank weapons, how common they are nowadays.
Okay.
There's a lot you can do
Yeah.
to disable a tank.
God, the idea of being inside one of those when an anti-tank weapon hits it, it sounds horrifying to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of tanks have things to mitigate damage to the crew in particular, or especially to mitigate damage to the ammunition storage.
Otherwise
The
you
Abrams
end up-
has a fun feature where if the ammo gets hit, there's a compartment above the ammo that will intentionally blow away so that all of the rounds can explode and that force goes away from the crew compartment. That's a
Yeah.
fun way of dealing with it.
Smart.
There is a Russian tank that allegedly exists. It's a very modern tank called the T-14 that puts the crew, all of the crew, into just an armored box in the center of the tank. They're all sitting shoulder to shoulder. Everything else is handled mechanically. You don't have to manually load rounds or manually move the turret. You're just all in a box together made of like titanium or something like that. Again, allegedly, because Russian propaganda, we haven't seen the tank deployed anywhere. So
question.
It's just showed up in like, But
is there any reason that tanks can't be handled remotely now?
No, there's really not. That's the whole idea behind the T-14 is that all of the control stations are together in a very safe location, while the movement of the turret and all the different systems and the driving is all handled, remotely through electronics. That brings up more problems of like if those electronics get damaged, then
or disrupted, or
okay.
So as far as ways that we can explore tanks, we can find some documentaries. War Thunder or World of Tanks is something
War Thunder
we can try.
and World of Tanks are both free. Yeah, I would recommend War Thunder over World of Tanks because of the lack of hit points. I feel like that's closer to how you would feel in actual tank combat. Also in War Thunder, more likely than not, the way you'll die is by getting bombed by a plane, which is very accurate to real world doctrine and how to handle tanks.
Well, it gets pretty detailed about like actual tank shit, right?
You can see the inside components where it's all laid out, armor thicknesses and all that stuff. There are a few other games that I like a lot if you want to check them out. I don't know if I can share them to you, but Sprocket is a game where you design your own tank.
I remember you playing this one.
I like Sprocket a lot. Let's see, Gunner Heat PC is another one. Is a tank simulator game that I think is one of my favorites, if only because the voice acting in it is very good. You are a tank crewman. I've showed you this before. But your commander will spot an enemy in the distance and they'll be like, tank 400 meters left, and like commanding the gunner. And if they shoot back at you, that crew starts to panic really fast, and it goes from tank 400 meters southwest into left. It's good. The voice work in that game is great. They just start screaming when things get real, which is very fair.
I'm also fascinated by the fact that there's like a tank community. I'm sure there are like subreddits and shit.
Oh, you better believe listen, the tank community has been around for a while. We're talking forums, okay? Yeah. It goes old school.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not too far off from trains, right?
Yeah, true.
I suppose not.
There are train people. There are tank people. Tanks are just trains without tracks that have guns.
Yeah.
and Sam's always said that.
I've always
wait till I
that.
tell this guy about armored trains. He's gonna lose his mind.
Oh God. So as far as things you dislike about, I'd say like the interest of tanks. Would you say like the community, kind of the debates in the community?
The debates in the community get so stupid to the point that people will post classified military documents in order to prove, no, the turret can turn an extra 2 degrees per second faster. I swear. I'm telling you, you're stupid. It's ridiculous how little that stuff matters. And then also,
I guess the war too.
Yeah, the war thing is pretty not cool.
There's
the context
all
that tanks are used in kind of sucks. But they're pretty to look at.
And is there anything that we should be aware of or watch out for as we explore tanks?
I guess those myths you were talking about and kind of looking for like a bias towards sensationalizing.
Yes.
The differences.
The superstitions that are proposed a lot of the time, especially if you're doing like World War II, especially about German tanks and how they were like, oh, a Tiger tank from World War II could knock out an Abrams. No, it can't. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. No, it cannot.
I have one weird question. Like, what's like I don't know, you were talking about like some of those kind of like crazy tanks that were like when they were kind of just like throwing stuff at the wall. Mm-hmm. What's one of like the weirdest or like goofiest functions that like a tank has had that you know about?
If I recall correctly, a lot of British tanks actually have a kettle for making tea.
That's crazy that you knew that so quick.
I knew you'd have something.
That's incredibly British.
I don't know. That may be one of the superstitions I'm talking about, but I'm choosing to believe in that.
I'm Googling it. British
Google.
tank
Find out.
with tea kettles?
Can any like go up walls or something?
Not
Is
that
that a
I know
thing?
about.
I've heard about that a little bit.
Tanks get. Did you find out, Sam?
According
Yes.
to the internet, every British main battle tank and armored vehicle is equipped with a built-in boiling vessel, BV. Standardized in 1945,
The
electric
BV-100.
kettle and cooker was introduced after World War II combat studies revealed a dangerously high number of tank crew casualties occurred when soldiers stepped outside their armored vehicles to brew tea and heat rations under enemy fire.
They just can't
They're like,
stop
just do it
brewing
inside
tea.
the tank, guys.
That
do it
is
in
the most British thing I've ever heard in my life.
Too many of you too many mates were dying when they went to go brew their
Oh, John, give them some suppressing fire. I've got to step out for a second, get the tea.
I need a cuppa.
They got John. He made tea. Somebody needs to get the tea.
Send around there, Wade. I need to heat up my
They're like,
food.
fuck, we'll just put a fucking kettle in there. Stop him from getting out there making tea.
The fucking tank manufacturer's like, God, dude, just put one in there.
That's so fun. A boiling vessel is also hilarious.
To be fair, those crews do need to stay in that tank for sometimes
yeah.
very extended
Yeah,
periods of
they need
time.
some tea. Give him some tea.
Yeah, give them a little bit of something, you know, something to look forward to while they're getting shot at.
Well, great. Oh my god, I think we have so much to check out.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts as we close out?
I think if you guys are gonna try to engage in tank content, for lack of a better term, my little personal quest for you guys is to try to find a tank that you would call your favorite. It doesn't have to be for any reason. It doesn't have to be performance based. Maybe you just like the way it looks. Try to find a favorite tank and just look at the history of it, see what it's all about. Because there's some very interesting vehicles, I think.
Okay.
And for as
Yeah.
common as the idea of a tank being like this big indestructible thing, they're
Right.
actually rather fragile, and the amount of engineering that goes into them and to keep the crew alive especially is pretty fascinating.
I've only
Yeah.
really engaged with tanks like in the context of video games, so I'm curious about getting into them more like mechanically and
Yeah.
like in depth, like outside of just like can shoot hard and drive faster.
They have had to come up with some really creative solutions to fit all of that into like the hull of a tank, because those engines are some big boys. You're moving 60 tons worth of steel. You need to find some way to put a big fuck you engine into something that isn't going to end up looking like a box. And
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's designed like a
pretty challenging.
submarine, right? Like it's kind of like packed in like a submarine.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, trying to find funny different ways to fit all of these components together and be like, oh, also a person needs to fit there. Is
those
an
guys.
ongoing challenge of an ongoing challenge of tank design. So, just look into a few of them, try to find a favorite. They're
Sick.
cool.
Yeah. Okay, well, to
Right.
close us out, we always do a little thing. If you could just give us the first sound that comes to mind when you hear the phrase time warp.
That's crazy.
Very
It's late night with Show Me To Us Rachel. We're recording this episode at 2 a.m.
Whoa! It's not 2 a.m. That's a lie. Maybe it is when you're listening.
That's true.
Guys.
Chris, what time
But
is
for
it?
us, yeah. What time is it, Chris? We did it. We tanked.
We tanked.
We got into tanks. What a weird sentence.
We tanked. But like in a positive way.
Yeah.
What did you do, Nate?
Okay, so let's see. So, we'll see what we both did. I watched some of Fury.
Oh, you did? Oh, my God. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah. And then I also played some War Thunder, one of the tank games Jacob recommended. And I also, I think I kind of got into a Wikipedia hole spiral on just weird, goofy tanks. Because I was kind of looking at regular tanks, and I was like, oh, these are cool, but the differences are somewhat minute, at least to the layman, I suppose. And so I was like, oh, but I want a tank that looks like weird or something. And then I just kind of started spiraling down and found some really weird stinkers.
Did you learn about the S tank, the Sweden one?
No.
Oh, dude, that's got to be so. So here's what I did. I watched. So I Sam am in the middle of a tech week, so I'm a little short on time. I did everything I could. I watched one 1 hour long video.
That's a lot.
Hey. But it was a bunch of tank professionals and like former tank drivers and some current tank drivers talking about the top 10 tanks.
Whoa.
Yeah, I wish I could remember every single one on the list, but it was really interesting. And I learned some things I didn't know. Did you know I just learned this, to start an Abrams, which ranked number 2 on that list.
Yeah, Abrams is a big one, it seems like.
Abrams is like, it's the star of the Western world of tanks, I guess, the American tank. And it is, it's a cool looking tank. Gotta hand it to him. But it takes 8 gallons to start the engine of an Abrams.
8 gallons of what, gas?
Gasoline.
Oh my
I should've,
God.
made that clear.
Just to start it?
Just to start the engine. It is hilariously
God.
fuel inefficient.
Yeah, it's like...
Which makes sense. Those things are like, very heavy.
Yeah, they're tanks.
They're fucking tanks. It's like 30 times the weight of a normal car.
That's crazy. 8 gallons.
Yeah.
Hummer could never.
Hummer couldn't even dream. So, what was your favorite tank? What did you explore?
Okay, so we can do this now if we want. It's kind of a whole thing.
Okay.
So, first let's talk about War Thunder. That was kind of my first ish thing I did.
Yeah, I played a little bit of War Thunder back in the day, but it's been a while. But.
Yeah, very fun. I wanted it. It's basically like Jacob was saying. It's like a tank game. I think they have other shit too, but I just did tank stuff.
They have planes.
Yeah, and you like big tanks from different countries, and they're all like pretty accurate. And the one thing though is I wanted to try. I thought it was going to be like one person's the gunner, one person's the mover.
Oh yeah,
and it's not like that. Yeah, but it still was. Yeah, it was still very cool, kind of seeing. Oh man, like just it. Like you don't really. There's some things you don't really think about when you're just like. That I wasn't really thinking about, like just the idea that like the gun takes a long time to turn, and you have to like account for that, and you have to account for like what parts of the tank you're hitting. I mean, of course you do, I guess, now that I'm saying it out loud, but like hitting the engine as opposed to like taking out the crew, and then also just like how like just one shot can just cripple a tank for like minutes.
Oh yeah.
And then you just have to sit there and like fix your shit, or like just wait for like, I'm sure the crew's inside just like trying to like make shit happen. And like it seems like it's just like you're spending, like as a crew member, you're just spending so much time in your tank just kind of like terrified.
Yeah. That was an interesting thing that I haven't really ever considered as someone who mostly interacts with tanks in video games, is that like the amount of time they spend inside those tanks just like going places. Like they offhandedly was like, yeah, during World War II, I was in this for like 300,000 miles. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. No wonder they like talk about them like they do. Those are like their homes during that time.
Well, literally, I mean, like in Fury, they had all those like pictures of like things to kind of remind them of things outside. But also like, there's no windows. So you're just like in like a enclosed tiny space with like at least a couple other guys.
Probably smells horrible in there.
Oh, I bet it smells awful.
Sorry, I was trying to, in my studies, focus on like the mechanics and like learning more about the intricacies, because I have interacted a lot like in like a combat way with tanks just through video games. Obviously, there's a certain degree of no realism to consider, but in playing these games with Jacob, I did learn a lot about tank combat, like you were saying, about hitting the right places. The angling of your tank really matters too, because some of them are designed with slopes. So if you angle your armor at the enemy tank in a certain way, you can deflect the missiles or the fucking rockets.
Right.
Hitting the back of a tank is also always really good. A lot of it's like tank combat, like tank on tank combat, which apparently pretty rare in real life. Maybe
right
anymore. It's like chess, like because it's all so slow and it takes a while to turn the turret. If you do ever want to try a game that is like it's a driver, a commander, and then a gunner, Hell Let Loose lets you do that. It's not the most realistic combat, but it is like the commander has to, because you can't see anything as the driver or the turret.
Right,
the commander has to be like, turn the turret to 90 degrees. Driver, Jacob uses the proper terms. I don't remember what it is, but he'll be like, driver, turn right. And we have to coordinate just to make sure we're facing the right way and we have our armor facing the right way.
Right. Interesting.
It's cool. It's very strategic. And then, takes one or two rockets and you're fucking gone. Screen turns black.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But sorry, continue. War Thunder.
No. I mean, that was kind of my experience. Like, and I also didn't think about, I mean, and this was happening in Fury a little bit too. Like, just like being in a field of like a bunch of other tanks has got to be like terrifying. Not to mention like stuff in the air, stuff like. Yeah, I feel like we're kind of removed. Like so many of the conflicts that we're in now, like internationally, are very like it's very like proxy wars and drones and like there's a lot
very
of distance between things and and like Cold War tactics of just kind of icing each other out and taking out like supplies and like kind of arming like an arms race just to kind of stop each other from using our arms in the first place, right? Like nuclear weapons or whatever. So it's interesting to kind of be like to kind of realize, in like World War II, it was just so much like industrial engineering machinery all in one place at one time, like complete. It's got to be like complete in total chaos in like. Not knowing, like, like just like the PTSD of just being in an environment like that, I bet is insane.
It's. I feel like the PTSD of every era of warfare is uniquely terrifying, because like sitting in your hole feeling comfy and safe, and then hearing a buzz and seeing a drone come and then explode, that would give me PTSD too.
Oh, totally, yeah. I guess I mean more as like. Us, like people who aren't fighting in wars or whatever, like we don't really see like, the examples that we see are kind of dramatized old World War II stuff. Like we're not like seeing it happening. Like we'll be like, oh, they killed this, leader, and it was like a successful operation, like SEAL Team 6 or whatever, right? But we don't get to really like, I don't know. It's just really interesting, like seeing what that was like and just thinking about how terrible that was.
Fury actually, I think, is credited for having a very realistic tank versus tank scene. It's when they like encountered the one German. Is it a Panther? The German tank they find?
I think so. Yeah, or a Panzer. Yeah.
Panzer. Yeah, you're right. It's Panzer. Yeah, because they have to try to go around to the back of it. Yeah, that scene is so good, and they really hit the like tension of it really well too. Good movie.
I think. Yeah, the. Yeah, just like I don't know, just like the amount of violence you're seeing is just insane. Like war. I mean, no fucking surprise to anyone, but just like I don't know, just looking through all these tanks and stuff. Like I think the actual tech of tanks and the engineering behind them and all of the science behind it and the architecture to it is super fascinating and interesting. Like, especially, I don't know, just like the idea of tech being at a certain level back then, that it was like limited enough to not be so complex that we don't really understand it, but complex enough to be like really making some interesting, weird decisions, like mechanically. So I get the interest, but yeah, I mean, obviously the war part is tough to
we don't fuck
forget.
With the war. I usually like I have to remove it from the reality of like what they're made for in order to like, be excited by them.
Yeah.
Because they're fascinating and they're cool. But one strange thing in the video I was watching was like people who are actually tank people or like people who have worked in tanks, and the way they talk about it is eerie to me because they'll be like, oh yeah, and then you make it so you could go kill some people, and I'm like, you're talking about real human beings.
Oh
Like,
yeah, but I mean, like it's
relax.
like there's so much removal. I feel like they have like compartmentalizing. They're doing like just like to be in that tank.
Right.
And, like,
it's
not
like
go
me talking
insane.
about a video game, the way that they talked about it. It was strange to me.
Oh yeah.
Um,
But so favorite tank. What was yours?
so I have 3 that I want to mention.
Okay.
Well, actually 4. So in
Ooh.
my top 10, I don't really have an all-rounder favorite. I have a looks favorite. I have 2 that I really respect and think are just great all around. And then I have one that's my silly favorite.
Okay.
My silly favorite is the S tank. It's a Swedish tank that was made. Oh, I don't remember. I want to say the 70s or 80s. They said it in. I don't remember all the details, but it's one of the more unique ones on this list.
yeah.
Because it's super flat. The turret actually doesn't
yeah.
rotate. They have to move the entire tank in order to aim it at all.
Oh, interesting.
It has I think a hydraulic system so that it can aim up or down in the treads of the tank. It moves really fast. It has a second set of steering facing the opposite direction because it can't sit in one spot or another tank will get it. It's mostly like defensive.
Huh. Okay.
But it's just the most unique one. Another really
Whoa,
interesting
cool.
one, it was a Vietnam American tank. I don't remember what it's called. But it was designed to be airdropped. So there were a lot of interesting factors about it because it needed to be airdropped. Like the armor was aluminum, so it was like super fucking fragile.
Huh. Yeah.
But it could move well. And then
Cool.
looks-wise, this is unfortunate, but the Merkava, it's an Israeli tank that still gets used. I just think I know it's an unfortunate country of origin right now, but it is a cool looking tank. It just looks a little futuristic, and it has off of the turret, it has these like chains that hang, and it looks
Sam,
like
they're using this now.
yeah.
Sam.
Yeah, stop. Listen, we're removing the context. We're just talking about tanks, to be clear.
Yeah, I know, but this one's context is pretty fucking recent.
Pretty bad.
God.
But hey, yeah. But it's a cool looking tank.
I just think Kevin Spacey's a really good actor.
Wait, hold on. I'm not praising what it's used for. I'm just saying it
you're
looks
right.
good.
It does have it. I see what you mean. It's got some fun stripes and such.
Yeah. And I honestly don't remember too much about its actual function. I just think it looked cool. It was funny though, and you can cut this if you need to. But they had an IDF soldier talking about it, and at one point she was like, the like narrator was like, yeah, but it does get beat out by other tanks. Not what everyone thinks though. And then it cut back to her, and she was like, I think it's the best tank in the world. And I was like, that's the most IDF thing you could have said, dude.
Yeah, yeah. The propaganda starts here.
Right. But number 2 was the Abrams, which is the American tank that's been just the like one of the staples for years.
Also, probably equally bad context, but
Yeah.
one that
Also
we're more
looks
okay
cool,
with, I
though.
suppose.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, and this one's so classic. I feel like it kind of
It's
looks
so
like
classic, yeah.
it kind of looks like the Batmobile
Yeah.
that they have in Dark Knight.
Yeah, actually you're right. It feels like it has same design ideas behind it.
Yeah, which makes sense because I think they literally modeled it after a
tank.
military tank, and at the time of that movie, it was probably the Abrams, right?
Probably, yeah. It's also such a tank-looking tank, Like, if I was going to think tank in, modern day, I would picture the Abrams. That's a tank.
If I'm thinking tank about a tank, This is the tank I'm thinking of.
That's a
It looks
tank-looking
so
tank. It does. Tell me I'm wrong. Whoever's listening, Chris,
Look at this tank and tell me if it doesn't look like a
tell
tank.
me it doesn't look like a tank. The number one though was the leopard, and it's the one that I think Jacob mentioned in the first half. It's the one that a lot of other countries have purchased because it's easy to manufacture, it's easy to maintenance, it's fast, it's reliable, and it hits hard, and it's cool looking. Not that matters for what they're actually used for. Again, I'm just talking about they're interesting.
Hey, you know what? The Leopard 2 is being used currently in the Ukrainian offensive.
Is it?
So that's
okay.
That's good, I suppose.
As compared to other murder that's happening in the world right now, at least that one's defensive.
God. No, offensive for sure, but it is offensive. But it's for Ukraine at least.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, yes. Yeah. Well, I didn't think this would be such a controversial episode. It didn't occur to me.
No, it's fine. We just have to contextualize it. We just have to be very clear. We do not support war.
We do not support war.
We don't like it. No.
We're talking about tanks as an idea.
No, yeah, we're talking about tanks, not about anything about what they're designed for. Just as if they are in a vacuum.
Yes.
These tanks are just
museum
like, oh wow,
piece.
look at this cool thing that we happen to make.
God damn it. Leopard, no, I think it's the Leopard.
Leopard
2.
is cool.
It's
it has
cool.
It's got like a big, it's got like a flat kind of turret, sorta, that rotates around.
Yeah. You know what? Something they talked about. There's two other things I want to mention.
Yeah, please.
Something that I thought was interesting is it's designed to be easily upkept, so that basically they related it to something else, but I couldn't remember what it was. You can just plug a maintenance computer into any component, and it'll tell you what's wrong with it.
Whoa,
and it's
that's
like
cool.
easily. They were talking on the show about like how tanks need to be like fancy and high tech, but easily learned, because
like
especially
user
in like
friendly,
World War
right.
II, you're bringing in kids who need to be trained fast and then thrown out there.
Yeah, like Logan Lerman in Fury.
Yeah, literally. Like, go sit on the gun, shoot it. So that was a big conversation around like German tanks. They like overdid them most of the time. They made them too difficult. One of the really interesting thing about the jumping back to the Vietnam American tank that I can't remember the name of. I'll pull up the name while I'm talking about it. It had a unique turret. It was really short, and it shot laser-guided missiles. It didn't shoot rockets like most tanks. It had this is Vietnam, too, which is crazy to me. But it had an IR... hold on, I'm scrolling up. I've been just
an infrared?
Yeah, it had like an infrared laser. So then it showed like a video of it shooting once, and the rocket or the missile, I don't know, would kind of fishtail and go crazy everywhere, but it would always find the target because
it's like just
IR
looking
guided
for the infrared signal.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Which I thought was nuts. Like, it looked crazy.
Can you imagine you see like a dot appear on you?
Oh god, I don't think.
And you see this fishtailing missile. Yeah, yeah, I guess that's true.
Sheridan, that's what it is. The Sheridan.
Oh, okay. These are good tanks. Good tanks.
It is fascinating how, like Jacob talked about how they're designed for their theater of war. Each one was like so different and specific about like what it needed to do.
Yeah, I was noticing like the different camouflages. Like all the Russian tanks, like a lot of them were white because they were like
in snow.
In the snow.
The Israeli one's very brown because it's in a lot of deserts.
Yeah. Okay. Have you heard, Sam, of Hobart's funnies?
What? No.
Funnies like haha funnies.
Yeah. I have not.
So there is a group of tanks that were operated by like basically the specific division of the British Army. Don't look it up yet. Okay. I've given you a lead in. And they were like created by these like royal engineers by the British Army. And they basically like they were starting to like have some issues during World War II. with their tanks, like with tanks needing like specific like capabilities that they didn't have, and they made all these like weird, crazy like tanks that were like weird, like just had different weird functions, and they kind of nicknamed them after this division's commander. His name was General Percy Hobart, so they're called Hobart's Funnies.
Wait, actually, I think Jacob mentioned this to me once years ago.
Oh, really?
Because they're all just really weird little tanks, right?
Yeah, so it was most of them were like Churchill tanks that they like kind of tweaked and built other stuff on top of, or Sherman tanks from America. But
Sherman.
Okay, so there's so many.
Gotta respect the Sherman, dude.
Okay. So the first one that I thought was great was the look up the ARK. The ARK. So this tank doesn't have a turret. It just is a bridge.
Oh, that's kind of sick.
And it has extendable ramps. So it's literally kind of like in Stormlight.
I was going to say, it's a Stormlight bridge.
It's literally the bridge crew. Like, and what's cool is that they could stack them.
Man, Sadius would have loved this, dude.
So they could have one and they could have another one drive on top of it. So like if it was like a big ravine, right? Like the one on the bottom would be just like a little bit extended, and the next one would be like even more extended to fill it out even more. Do you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
And then tanks could use that tank as a bridge. So it's like a bridge tank.
I imagine though its issue was like that's a lot of resources to commit to bridge, you know?
Well, no, but all these were used. Like
they were?
Yes, these aren't just like tested ones. These were actually like used during like in like large numbers.
That's hilarious.
Then there's let's see.
The ARK is also an awesome name for a bridge.
The Churchill. Look up the Churchill crocodile.
Crocodile.
So this one they replaced the hull machine gun with a big flamethrower.
Oh God, that's horrifying.
And it had a range of 120 yards.
I feel like I've seen this in movies and shit, actually. 120
yeah,
yards.
It specifically, like, one of the design features was less like that this was like an effective, because like obviously fire on a tank is not like gonna hurt the tank too bad, but like they specifically designed it, like the idea was that it was gonna be like so psychologically terrifying for people to just see like a tank shooting fire.
I mean,
even if it like didn't actually make sense of it like being able to hurt you. You know what I mean?
I mean, if it was used around trench warfare, I could imagine that would be pretty effective.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. So it was like, clearing bunkers, clearing trenches. Yeah. And then, let's see. Then there's the, which one next? I think I'm going to do, look at the crab.
Oh, God.
So the crab was a Sherman tank that
I've seen this. It's to get rid of mines, right?
Yeah. It has like it's like a rotating like cylinder that has like these weighted chains on it that are specifically to like it's like a spinning little steamroller thing that's like in front that will blow up mines before the tank hits it.
I would hate to run that tank. That would be so scary, dude.
oh, crazy. And then there was various amphibious tanks.
Nice.
Like the DD tank, that was the one that I thought was funny. Yeah, and it literally Duplex Drive was what it stood for, but they also called them Donald Duck's tank.
Cute.
And they had like, do you see those like flaps around there?
Yeah.
That's like a flotation device that they would like float, so they could float with that inflated.
Cute.
Isn't that goofy?
A cute tank.
Yeah, and then so I just thought like it was so, I liked that there were all these like tanks that were just kind of goofy.
Yeah, such specific, things.
Yeah, there was also some other tanks that were like goofy, but they didn't really necessarily use them a ton. And these weren't in Hobart's Funnies that I saw. There was one that I saw that like literally it looked like a cherry picker, and basically the person like laid inside of the arm of the cherry picker, and the gun was on top, and it was so they could shoot over walls.
That's hilarious.
So it would be flat, and then it would like extend this arm up, and then like shoot it up, and then like shoot down over the wall.
God, could you imagine being behind that wall? I'd be pissed.
Be like, no,
Like, come on, dude. It's the one thing that this wall is supposed to do.
no, please, no. And then okay, the last one. This is just goofy. I need to find out what the actual name of it was, but basically there was a time where like New Zealand was worried about like some sort of okay, they were worried about like having like a Japanese invasion near the end of World War II, and so but they didn't have a lot of materials because they're like like they don't have a lot of like industry down there at the time, so they literally just made tanks out of like a tractor that they put iron on.
Hell yeah, Sweden.
So look up.
New Zealand.
It's called the Bob Semple tank, because Bob Semple was the guy who created it.
I wish I could do a New Zealand accent because thinking of
New
those
Zealand,
guys.
the Bob Semple tank.
The Bob Simple thing. I can't.
I built it out of a tractor.
That thing is so tall. I feel like I could push it over. I can't.
Yeah, it's
Probably
just
still
a box. It's just a big old box, and it had no blueprints. It was designed without any plans, so it was like it had a lot of like practical difficulties. There were also, that's the other thing, is that like a lot of these tanks, they made them and then like they had things about them that were like so obviously bad. I would think in the planning phase that I'm like, why did you even get to the point of building these? Like there was one tank that like it like they were like, oh well, we can save space by putting the entire crew in the turret for the gun, and you're like,
Genius.
oh, that sounds great, but then like every crew was like, we can't do this, we're so dizzy.
They're spinning around.
Because they're spinning around inside of the turret.
Well, it's an interesting factor of just like warfare, like if I can manufacturing, is that it's all so rushed all the time.
Yeah.
'Cause
Totally.
Like, we have to make this thing for this specific scenario with these specific parameters. We don't have time to test it. Get it out.
Yeah,
there.
like let's just throw some fucking metal on a tractor and like kick it on the way out.
So there's a lot of like unique. And I mean, if you think about it, like even our cars, are like every car has its own, downfalls. So, but these are just, much higher stakes.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. So those are Hobart's funnies. If you guys want to look up Hobart's funnies, they look goofy. There's a lot of there were yeah. It seemed like we were just kind of throwing shit at the wall, like every country was, which is kind of I don't know. Like I think it's easy to be like, oh, like U.S. is this military power and we have like the best military in the world and like blah 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 blah. But like, not only are we also the villains of a lot of these stories, but we're also bad at making stuff, like a lot. And I think in general, I think that's like one of the scarier things I was like kind of, I don't know, thinking about with all this was that like in war, like we think that we're these like, specific, really highly trained generals making all these tactical decisions, which like is true probably to some extent. But at a certain level, yeah, exactly. Like at a certain level, you don't know what you're doing, and you're just kind of trying to make stuff work in a war, which is gonna be bad and hurt a lot of people, no matter how you slice it. So
you're just throwing shit at the wall, flaming.
Yeah, like as evidenced by these tanks. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, no one knows what they're doing. It's sad.
Yeah, and I mean, it's probably no mistake that we found out, like, we got the Abrams, and then we were like, yeah, okay, we're not going to develop any more tanks, because, like, if this works, why would we waste more resources or time, like, when we're in a push later to figure something else out or something,
We're also older, and, yeah, we're also older than anyone operating any of these tanks, most likely.
Oh, you mean, like, we've had tanks for longer?
No, you and I are older in age than probably most of the people that operate any of these tanks, especially in like those earlier ones, like World War I, World War II. Those are like 18.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah,
those are kids in those things. It's insane.
Jeez, yeah, I can't even imagine.
They can't even have their fucking driver's license while they're driving a tank.
Drive a tank.
That's actually not true. You get your driver's license at 16 in America. I was confusing with the age of drinking. You can't have a beer, but you drive a tank.
During Prohibition, you couldn't drive a tank. Anyway.
Give those kids a beer, dude. Give those kids.
Yeah, God, give them something to forget their hell they were in. Well, with that, guys.
I think this occurred to me when I was watching the video and I got to the Israeli tank and I was like, ooh, I'm going to have to talk about this.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, we don't anymore. But hey, all due aside, tanks, Jacob, we liked getting into tanks. I think, is this a hobby we will continue? I would hope no one would. But
well, it's in an academic way. It's an interest. But if I ever encountered a tank or had the opportunity to operate a tank in a real scenario, I would run away.
Yeah, this one's going to be a hard pass for me on operating or supporting any sort of tanks. But yeah, I'll jump in a tank in a game maybe, or I'll or watch a movie maybe, and still feel like it's crazy. But yeah, the engineering of it is definitely very, very cool.
I will say I'm going to definitely take a more, and it's the same thing with me with all of these, I think. I'm going to take a more active attention, I don't know if this isn't the right words, to tanks. When they come up, I think I'm going to pay attention more.
Oh, absolutely.
To their names. I don't know. I've interacted with them in video games all the time, but I never remember like their names, and I've always felt that way. Like when sports are on, it's like I want to know who's doing what. I want to know the tanks. I want to know, I don't know. So I'm losing it. It's 4 a.m. over here, guys.
It's not 4 a.m.
I'm just gonna take a more active attentiveness to tanks because I do think they're interesting. I don't know.
No, me
also,
too. Yeah.
A fun detail: most of them have airplane engines.
Whoa, huh?
Yeah.
we cut it off there.
And that's it.
No, hey, we'll see you guys next week with a brand new episode. And yeah, like learn about some tanks. I don't know. But maybe keep them old. Maybe keep just learn about the old tanks.
Play them in video games. Watch a documentary on them. Watch Fury. Think they're cool.
Yeah.
Only in media.
And use them as a way to kind of see what maybe some of the veterans you might know or might think of were going through, because it was pretty fucking insane and terrible.
Locked in a fucking sweaty, smelly box, getting shot at by rockets, and not a million years. But video games, really cool.
Yeah,
really cool.
less stinky, absolutely. Yeah. And with that, we're gonna call it.
Guess this sound. Guess this sound.
Oh yeah, okay.
Have I done that one before?
Absolutely, you have. That's gonna be water bottle, everybody. All right, goodbye.
Show me to us, Rachel. Ow!